biggest differences in between middle school and high school is that in middle school, your teachers would email students' grades, where in high school, a student has to check their grades themselves. And you do that through a website called Skyward. And Skyward is a website through the district. You log in, use your password, and then you go to the gradebook tab, and it can show a student what they're getting and like why they're getting that grade. And there's also a thing that we use called Gmail. You've used this before, obviously, but we use it more as for high school students and as freshmen. So basically, if a student misses school or they're sick for some reason, they would have to email a teacher saying like, hey, what I miss, except you should be more formal about it. So a student would email a teacher and they would say something like, hey, Mr. Davis, I was gone on blank day, and I was wondering if any worksheets were passed out. Thanks, comma, your name. Another big difference between middle school and high school is grading and credits. So in the middle school, they had the 1, 2, 3 grading method, where at the high school we have A, B, C, Ds. And to get an A, you have 100 to 93%, and A minus is 90 to 93. And it works that way down to an F. So an F is anything 50% or below. And also they have a late work policy where if you turn your work in late, you only get 50% of the credit. So the highest you can score is an F, which sucks. So make sure that as a student at the high school, to get your work turned in on time. Students also need a certain amount of credits to graduate. So a student has to have 25 credits to graduate, and there are some required classes which help you get those credits. There are 3 main note-taking methods that I'll be talking about. The first one is outlining. So outlining starts with a Roman numeral, and then as it gets more specific, it goes down to an A, then a 1, and then a lowercase letter. And there's note-taking called webbing, where you start with the heading in the middle and then subheadings, and those subheadings break down into more specific information, like dates, times, people. There's Cornell notes. So there's a line down here, and then there's usually a line at the bottom. At the bottom, you would have your summary. This side here is for questions, and then to the right, or I guess it's your left, I don't know, you have the answer to this question. There are 4 main learning styles. So the first one is auditory, meaning a student learns by hearing a teacher or other students speak to them. The second one is visual verbal, meaning they learn best by reading. So that would be like a textbook or instructions, like an instruction manual. The third is visual nonverbal, so that's pictures and diagrams. And the fourth is tactile kinesthetic, and that's more like hands-on learning, like doing science labs or like other hands-on stuff like art classes. For homecoming, students should make sure to get as involved as they possibly can. Students can sign up to help build the float, help in the skit, be in the parade, and also do games at the all-school assembly. And I just recommend that students get involved for homecoming. It's very, very fun. I was very involved for homecoming. I held the float decorations at my house, and it's just a really fun time. Also, if you want to be in the parade, almost every club is in the parade. So if a student were to talk to their advisor, I'm sure that at least one of their clubs is in the parade if that's something they want to do. Also know that as a freshman, the homecoming skit always gets booed. Don't take it personal. It's just a tradition, and you just gotta laugh about it. And then the last thing I'm going to talk about is the rules. So the main rules, I'm just going to go over a couple rules, some of the more common rules that are talked about. So first off, phones. Teachers want your phones to, this does vary from teacher to teacher, but most teachers just want your phones put away and they don't want you texting in class. Technically, the school rule is that phones should be shut off stored away, and unused. And then also the dress code. Students aren't allowed to have their midriff showing, which is their belly. So crop tops you cannot wear. Also with tank tops, they have to be 1 inch wide. And then if you're wearing a shirt that says something inappropriate on it, for whatever reason, if it's offensive, you may be asked to take it off. Obviously, can't guarantee that they're going to make you take it off, but that does happen sometimes. And then also backpacks. In the middle school, they're kind of about backpacks. But as a high school student, your backpack just has to be in your locker. It's a safety thing. Teachers could trip over it, or, you could have something unsafe in there. Not saying that you would, but it's just a safety precaution, and you just got to respect.